Let's do.
Okay, you guys are on this one.
I got my AC/DC shirt on. Do you know what AC/DC stands for?
I do not.
Do you, Waterman?
It's the current.
Is that what they said?
I don't know if that's what it is. That's what it is. AC and DC current, like electrical.
What is an AC current? Where's Cousin Charlie? We need a little bit more awareness whenever I'm starting with Cousin Charlie. Wait a minute, it looks like you ain't awake. I'm about to get started. Hey, he likes my video. I know you like my video. Where are you, Cousin Charlie? Pull up a seat in here. Everybody should be getting on here. Let's go ahead and get it started. Hey, it's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me.
Ta ta ta.
What did you get me, Cousin Charlie?
Ta ta ta.
I only want $5,000 more dollars.
Oh.
We're going to Reconstruction for Life. Hey, we're live. We're here, folks. Thank you for getting on here. Thomas C. Davidson. We're going live on Thomas C. Davidson. Good Time Tommy. We should be live on Cousin Charlie Swifty. Hey, who's live? And, of course, the Weatherman. Every Wednesday, 1 o'clock, we come to you, and we host Real Estate 101. It don't matter where we're at. We're going to do Real Estate 101. Kathleen, these lights look awesome. They're gold.
Gold.
You're platinum.
You are golden. You are golden. Before we get started, the Weatherman likes to take over. Hey, we can see you went to lunch at Blue Coast Burrito.
Oh, let's move. Hey, they're not a sponsor yet. We're working on them.
We're working on getting some bigger sponsors. So, Weatherman, before we get started, who are we thankful for? Give us your little intro.
Hey, we got so many to be thankful for. We cannot, especially this week being Wednesday, say enough about Southern Exteriors. We so much appreciate those guys for what you've done. You've helped us raise a tremendous amount of money for a great cause that truly, truly impacts this area. But our sponsor of the week we want to thank is Belinda Erringer, who continues to go above and beyond anything that you could ever ask for. She will answer the phone 24/7. She can be in Alaska. She can be in California. She'll be at a baseball game in Clarksville. And it's like the chick has a laptop on her hand. So Belinda, we want to thank you so much for being our preferred lender, and we want her to be your preferred lender. So guys, if you're looking for someone to take you over the top, whether you're a real estate agent or looking to refi or buy a house, call our girl Belinda Erringer at IBR Mortgage and tell her that GTT sent you.
And the Weatherman.
And the
Weatherman Center. Hey, can we put a link in there for Belinda Erringer to say, hey, call the great one? But hey, Weatherman, I appreciate you bailing me out. I almost forgot about my boys, Travis and them over at Southern Exterior. If you're looking for a fence, you need to call them. They helped me raise, Charlie, $1 million for Reconstruction for Life.
Right at $1 million.
Right at $1 million. We might be just a little bit short of our goal, but hey, we did it.
You know what I just realized?
What?
Them old good boys will lie too, won't they?
Church of Christ, boy, hey, he'll lie to you.
A little bit too.
He'll lie to you. So hey, thank you everybody. If you've got any questions, please ask us a question. I see my buddies around here, Dominic. Sarah, hey, little baby Tommy McDaniel has joined us. So we went up there. Remember, we went up there and watched Keller Williams do those calls.
Yeah.
We went up there that time.
Yeah, that girl.
She's over.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, that
she
was
relentless.
She's very intense, like a brother. Okay, today here's what we're talking about, kids, and I got an audience full of people back there. Hey, thank y'all for being here. Before we get started, I want to make sure everybody knows what a home sale contingency is. Kathleen, do you know what a home sale contingency, you know what that means?
It means it's contingent upon something.
There you go. Selling that home. Hey, share my stream, friends. I need some love, by the way. If you will share this stream, we'll go back, and if you shared it, if we nominate you, you'll get a gift card to the Alley on Main. That's $25. My favorite restaurant. So, hey, I got to get more aggressive in asking for you to share. Cousin Charlie, have you shared? Dominic, have you shared? Swifty, did you share?
Yes, sir.
You're not lying to me, are you? I can go in here and look this information up. So
Let's just call them out. I share. Let's see if I share.
I don't know if you've shared it or not. So, Cousin Charlie, when I say this direct term, do you know exactly with certainty what a home sale contingency is?
I do.
What? Kathleen just told you.
Yes. I mean, something has to happen in order for the sale to go through.
What specifically has to happen?
Oh, that is the incorrect answer from our new guy. There are a couple different contingencies.
I said home sale.
He said home sale contingency.
There's several types of contingencies.
What's a home sale contingency?
It means the person has a home they have to sell in order to be able to buy the other house.
Weatherman, he caught me there. Do you know what a close contingency is?
Means that their house is under contract, but it has to close.
That's exactly right.
Woo.
That's exactly right.
He went from 0-1 to 2-2.
So what that means is, if you, let's just say I'm selling a house, Weatherman wants to come buy my house, but Weatherman's got to sell his house. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting over here thinking, man, do I want to take this? We're going to talk about this. I'm going to give you 5 things that I would tell you to do if you were in this position. Because, first off, there is a difference. Thank you, Weatherman, for bailing me out, because I did not identify a close contingency, and there is a sale of home contingency. So, number 1, we're dealing with some of this in office right now. If you, Swifty, my man back there, if you take a sale of home contingency on your house, now, Crystal, you just joined, you did make a great point. If there's more certainty, the lower you go on selling your home. You know, if you've got a $150,000 house, there's a lot of certainty that's going to sell. The higher up we go in that amount, the more certainty drops.
And that's where the absorption rate kicks in as well.
That's exactly right. So number 1, if you are considering taking a sale of home contingency, we're not talking about a close of home contingency, talking about a sale of home. My buddy Octavio's on here, our buddy Matt Sledge, come get this truck, by the way. Okay, you need to know this. Put your house on the market, get a contract, you look it over, and we got to sell a house. It just hits you, doesn't it? Damn, I got to sell a house to do this.
You scroll, you get slower as you get those stipulations.
And usually whenever they're doing that, they don't call and tell you,
They send you over a great offer. Everything looks good. Man, that's great. That's great. That's great. Uh-oh. What happens?
I want to just buy, as you may say, or we're talking about him. Going to keep my house. Okay, so here's what happens. It limits your showings.
Yes.
Tell us why, Weatherman, you
because
feel like
we have a new system, and what realtors use is a system called MLS. And even in Zillow and Trulia, in the new MLS system, which is where everybody gets their input. So realtors feed a system that people buy from and then sell back to realtors. So that's another topic. So the MLS has just transformed over the past couple months. So now it used to be you could click active and it just had active, but it would have sell a home beside it. And when people were looking for active, it popped up. Now the new system says active showing, active not showing, or contract showing, contract not showing. Once you have a contract, it doesn't fall in that active, which means it's wide open. So when a lot of real estate agents are looking, they bypass a sell a home contingency because their fear is, like Tommy said, their clients are going to like it. The other house they have to sell is under contract, and boom, they go show it, they love it, and they can't buy it. And so that's why they don't show it.
That's exactly right. Heather Blair, thank you for getting on here. My buddy David Stagg, good chatting with you the other night at Brittany Renee's little get-together. Teal Washington, Roy Frazier, everybody, thank you for getting on here. Please share my stream so I can give you something. Number 2, you are right about something. And I didn't really think about this, Weatherman, because we were talking about this earlier. I think a lot of these new online home search sites, as you call it, Cousin Charlie, man, that seems wordy. We need to come up with a way to say that better. But I think they're getting better at taking that information and not showing the public things that are sold.
Hey, Ryan Gay. There's Ryan Gay. We seen him earlier.
We just saw you, buddy. You need to come over here, buddy. We saw him over there at our new Blue Coast Burrito. So here's what has happened. Technology has improved where they're not showing as much.
Right.
I think Zillow, I think all of them are going to catch on to that because it was very frustrating for the consumers to call, that closed months ago. So it's gotten better. Number 2, this is something we talk about in our pipeline. And Cousin Charlie, if you got a question, you throw your hand up and say, I got a question. Do you?
Not right now.
You look like you had a question. I thought you had one. Number 2, we talked about a pipeline. So I want to think about your house as if you've got a lot of people interested, you've got a pipeline of people coming to look at it. Okay? So when your pipeline in sales when it slows down, it will force you to start taking bad deals, which could lead, there could be other problems, but ideally, you do not, Todd Taylor's got a question.
What about a coming soon website?
We'll get into that. Just don't let me forget that, Cousin Charlie.
All right.
So when your pipeline slows down, you start taking these bad deals, which...
But you got to describe. So pipeline, what you mean is when the market dips, and like once you get toward the fourth quarter and people are looking at Christmas shopping, Thanksgiving shopping, they're not as aggressive as they are in July and August or May. And so what happens, you may go from 40 showings to 6 showings. You may go from multiple offers to 1 offer. And then that's kind of what you're talking about.
That is one thing, but what I was really trying to say that I was not articulating very well because I'm all over the place today because, hey, it's my birthday and I'm dancing. It probably is a signal that if you don't have a lot of people come to look at your house, that your house is overpriced. And then it forces you to take an offer that you probably shouldn't, which might be a contingency. So we may have some things out there where we're not getting a lot of people looking at our house. We do finally get somebody. It's a Sale of Home Contingency. We take it because we feel good about it. But really, the reason why we're having to take offers like that is because that buyer can't get better deals out there because they'll lose out over that Sale of Home Contingency.
Well, here's another issue that we're having in this Sale of Home Contingency. Everybody's fearful that they won't find a house. So what they're wanting to do is just backwards in this market, and you have to be, you have to do what your client wants you to do. But the game now is actually, it's not really a game, it's really serious business. Is you need to sell your house, prepare for temporary housing, and then find your house. But that is so hard to articulate, that's so hard to express to do. But what happens is, so somebody's going out there finding the house, they really like it, they're giving you exactly what you want. I just need to put my house on the market and sell it. It should sell fast like everything else in Rutherford County. And then boom, it doesn't.
And there's a lot of problems that come along with you found the house you want, then you put yours on the market. There's there's a lot of things you don't know that could happen. Mm-hmm. You know, the home inspection come back. There's a lot of problems. We're going to talk about this. Is actually number 3 we're going to get to. But if you are forced, let's say if you've been on the market 20 days and you end up taking a Sale of Home Contingency, I think you're probably a tad high. You're a little overpriced because in this kind of market, even though we're slowing down because of the seasons, you should have, if you're priced correct, you're going to sell your home within the first 20 days.
Now that also is continuing what market you're into.
Yeah.
So if you're in that 350 to 500, it may not, even though it's priced correctly, it may not sell quickly. The absorption rate in that is probably a few months. If you're in the 150 to 200, it's priced right, it's probably going to sell the first day, multiple hours. If you're over 500, it could be a 4 or 5 month absorption rate. So you got to be prepared to deal with those numbers as well.
Right. Kathleen, thank you so much. Jeff Tool Shed told us, Crystal, it's not my birthday. If anybody needs tools, they need to call my buddy Matt Sledge, by the way. Thank you for getting on here, Matt.
So why Tommy's getting a drink. So what happens when you get what happens when you put a house on the market and you have several showings, somebody comes in and gives you a full price offer, that's the first offer you have a 24-hour deadline to answer that offer, but they have a Sale of Home Contingency. It puts you in a position, do I take the contingency or do I continue to market my house and not take the contingency?
That's a gamble.
Bird in the hand, you know the kind of saying. But
yeah, but we're gonna talk through some things to get back there, like number 3 that we're about to get to. But here's before we move on, anybody out there, if you're not using us to sell your home, always remember this. If the market has seen your home for 2 weeks or more and you end up getting an offer, but it's a sale of home contingency, you need to ask yourself this: are we a little overpriced? Because this is the only attention we're getting right now. So you need to look at, now Todd Taylor says use the right to continue to market, but Todd, one of the things we see with that is these filters with real tracks where you've got to select, it's contracted but showing. I think a lot of agents are going to say, hey, that's under contract. You don't want to go. I also think the audience out there doesn't get to see it because a lot of the technology is improving from Zillow to Boomtown. These other things, they're finding ways to limit what goes in there. Ron Cook, hey, I called you today, buddy. Call me back. I see you on here. Jimbo, I need to see your next magic show. Guys, please like, please share.
Is Ron Cook on there?
He is on here. The agents don't want to show. They don't, Todd. They don't. Now, you did ask a question about coming soon websites. If you wanted to be more clear exactly what you're asking, we'll talk about that. Number 3, whenever you take a sale of home contingency, you add a lot more complications.
A lot more stress.
It is complicated, friends. So what you've got to do now is you've got your house. Now you've got to worry about their house. You've got to keep following this domino of events to see where it ends. So that means what we're going to do, the Big Kahuna's on here, one of our favorites. If you need to get your AC looked at, call Shane Ray, the Big Kahuna, by the way. So what we look at when an offer comes in, we're going to call the lender, and there's only so much information that they're going to give us, but we know exactly how to ask right questions, don't we, Cousin Charlie? You awake? Hey, what are you doing over there? We know exactly what to ask them. We got to put a lot of effort into staying on top of it. Now, if we've got a contingency, we've got to double our effort. Yes. We got to deal with 2 home inspections. We got to deal with a lot more of a. It just really complicates everything, and that's no good.
And chances are you have this house contingent upon that house selling, so somebody has to buy that house. Somebody's going to buy a house and sell the house. So there could be 4 houses in this pipeline. So that's a lot of emotion. So you could have 3 or 4 different realtors, 4 different families, 4 different situations, and that's if it stops there. It could continue to go on, which usually doesn't get that far, but it's very likely that one sale of home contingency is really equal to about four people dealing with buying property.
Stephen, earlier you mentioned
Sam Swift in the back.
In a perfect world, instead of a sale of home contingency, you'd rather see somebody sell their home and go to temporary housing before, and then as they're looking for their home. How easy is it to find a lease that is temporary, 6 month, 4 month? Can you get something that's less than a year?
It's very, very hard, and you're going to pay a very, very lot of money for it. But if you want the most money, in my opinion, if you want the most money for your house now and be able to have the most bargaining power when you buy, that's your best situation. So anytime you do a sale of home contingency, you can't ask for nothing because you got this big red X. And so there is no wiggle room. There is no negotiation. I may have paid $5,000 for your closing costs if you didn't have a house to sell. Well, that $5,000 could have paid for 3 or 4 months at the Embassy Suites, or 2 months at the Embassy Suites, if you had to do something crazy like that. So you're definitely, it's going to be very uncomfortable, but in this market, it's uncomfortable anyway.
You're going to have to, we all have our tolerances for stress and what we can handle, but moving is inconvenient. And if you want to participate in this type of market that we're in right now, if you want to move, you're probably going to have to do something that's inconvenient, whether it's moving twice, whether it's selling, staying somewhere temporarily. But it's hard to tell people that because they get mad at you, but that is the truth. Todd Taylor says, looking at a website that would be for coming soon, well, what website would it be? Because one of the hardest things to do, Todd, is to build a brand, to build something to where enough people will come there and look. So if we said we're going to start this coming soon website, how many people are going to look? Can we get 100,000 people in Murfreesboro to look at it? No. Can we get? Well, how many people would look at it if we said, "Hey, we got this coming soon" website?
Hard to tell. Not to jump off Todd Taylor, but something that Swifty sparked and you sparked. Back to this contingency topic that you came up with is so there's a couple things to think about when you're upsizing and you're in the upsize contingency market, which means you're selling a small house to buy a bigger house. You're in a different position from when you're selling a big house to go to a smaller house. So you also got to remember what market you're in too. So it really, if you got a house at $169,000 off of Compton Road in Penny Lane area, I'm going to tell you, don't worry about selling it. Let's go find you a house. I'll have it sold before it ever hits the market. And I feel 99.9% that I could do that. If I have a $350,000 or $400,000 house and I'm wanting to downsize to a $200,000 house, it's very, very tough.
Todd Taylor, upsizing is better than downsizing. Not for me. I'm trying to downsize. I'm like 221 pounds right now. I got to get down.
Get down.
But no, and that's another reason why John Jones has that guaranteed sale program. So everybody out there, you should be taking advantage of our guaranteed sale program. By the way, number 4, are we ready to move on to number 4?
Let's do it.
Cousin Charlie, before I get started on number 4, is there anything you'd like to add? Swifty's asked a question. Kathleen, have you had any questions?
Yes, I've answered your question.
Did you ask one?
Yes, sure did.
Sells.
Did we just get bumped off for
Maybe.
somebody selling oranges? And
So, I mean, I can't,
All we got right now is weather, man.
that's good. Ratings go up.
Your mama
Ratings.
just joined?
Ratings just
Mama,
went up.
thank you for getting on here. We are back. I don't know how to get that thing off there. So number 4, unless Cousin Charlie can come up with his question, I'm going to keep making him feel uncomfortable until he gives me a question. So number 4, and hey, everybody, have you shared my stream? I don't know how many we've gotten. Only share one time. If you share twice, that outlaws you from the Alley on Main gift card. You can only share it one time. Cousin Charlie, you ain't got it. One question. You've got nothing.
Nothing.
Number 4.
Number 4.
It puts you in a real contract, but the buyer still has some options.
Ooh.
Buyer still ain't as committed as the old seller because
Gotcha.
I got you. And what that means is, let's break it down. If we do accept it, here's what you gotta do. First off, you do have to say, look, we will accept your contract, but
We have a
48-hour, we'll call it first right of refusal, which means this. If you give me a contract on my house, Kathleen, but you and Dave have got to sell your house, I'm going to say I'm going to take it to, and I'm going to agree with these terms right here. But this is something else you're going to have to agree with. We can continue to market it. We can accept other offers, and if we get an offer, you would have 48 hours to remove your contingency. Now, in the past, I remember where we would make contingency offers and have like 90-day closings.
yeah.
Because, hey, that's how I'd like to tie it up for that long. Well, one time we had to remove our contingency. And this was somebody that was in the office. I ain't going to say who. It was John. But it was one of his builders. And I had like a 90-day out closing date. And my guy, he had the ability to qualify for his home in that new home, okay? So they said, okay, well, we'll just give you a 48-hour first right of refusal. Well, within a week, another contract came in. I'm like, man, how confident are you that we're going to be able to sell your home? He's like, it wasn't on the market yet, by the way. It's about to be, but it was a lower house. He said, man, this is going to sell soon. I'm like, do you feel good enough that you'll be able to sell it in 3 months? He's like, yeah. I said, well, man, we wrote this contract out for 90 days. Mm-hmm. And all we got to be able to do is you got to be able to show them that you can qualify for both homes, and we can close in 90 days. And, man, John was mad.
Got him. You beat the master.
Oh, he was mad. I mean, like he fired me. He hit me. You know, I don't know if the statute of limitations is out on that. But then right after that, I did get him. The builder was pissed off, and I mean, it was a bad situation. But right after that, John came up with this little form. I got him. But he came up with this form. If you remove your contingency, which means, do you know what remove a contingency means? It means you can go ahead and satisfy the contract without selling your home, or it's under contract. He put something in every contract after that that was dealing with the sale of home contingency. You must close within 30 days after removing the contract.
So what that means, to break it down, if Sam Swift is buying my house, and we have a close date of December 24th, and we have a first right of refusal of 48 hours. Well, if I go to Sam and say I have another contract, all Sam has to do is say I'll remove my contingency and I'll close before December 24th. So what that means is you just can't go and say you're out, this one's in, because if he can qualify for both, if he can't qualify for both, he's out because he can't carry both notes. So you either have to show that you can qualify for both, so you can literally tie up the property all the way till December 24th, and then at that particular point, you can say, hey, I'm cold feet, I back out, here, you keep my earnest money. But at that point, the seller is the one that pays the price. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. So make sure you're putting these 48-hour rules in there. Here's another thing. I mean, this is, I think, I don't know technically when these binding agreements start, but let's just say this. Let's say, Cousin Charlie, I'm buying your house, but I got a 48-hour first right of refusal. I'm not going to do my inspections and my appraisals until I have to.
Right.
I don't do it until my house is under contract. Well, let's just say for you, you've eaten up a month or 2 months, then you do the home inspection on my house, and something comes back that you can't live with. You decide not to buy it. What if an appraisal problem pops up? Ooh. So what we're doing is we're opening up ourselves to so many, what was it, number 3, there's so many complications that could happen when you do this. You've got to make sure that you're okay with this contract. You've got to. Other thing that you've got to make sure you pay attention to is the person's home that's buying yours, is it sellable? Is it priced in a manner that's going to sell? Then you've got to worry about all the inspections on their house,
right, the
appraisals on their house. So it's very, very complicated when you enter into this type of an agreement. You've got to watch the current file you're working, and then you've got to watch the file that you're not working. You've got to rely on the information that they're giving you.
Very true.
Which, hey, have we ever been lied to?
Oh, my goodness.
Have we ever been lied to by professionals that we don't know?
Yes. Well, also if real estate agents and most people know, there's been a slight slowdown, not to scare anybody, but it's very typical for this time of year. So there is a little bit of a lag, and we're seeing it across the board from agents that are producing, and all agents out there. So it typically does slow down at this time of the year, so it makes these situations a lot more stressful now because you're dealing with a lag for the time of the year and you're dealing with contingency. So there's a couple more things added to that stress and pressure of it.
Because when our pipeline dries up, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do that.
Right.
Sometimes you're in a bad position and you'll take a bad deal, which makes your position even worse. Number 5, okay. And I'm telling you this, I may not tell everybody this. I may not tell my clients to do this. Or I may not tell Kathleen to do this. Or David, where's David right now? Orlando, his home away from home. Man, we're going to do something about that. That's going to drive me crazy. Okay, if you have listened to these steps and you've decided it's okay, we're going to take this sale of home contingency, number 5.
Brittany Renee, hey!
Be extremely demanding.
Ooh, oh. You got
terms.
Oh, so let's talk about that, because that's a harsh thing to say. So when you say strictly demanding, so
be very demanding on terms.
Well, let's talk about terms. What kind of terms are you going to demand?
Well, if you're bringing in a contingency, how much how much leeway would you be willing to give? How much, you said this early to Swifty, you may pay, hey, Brittany Renee, she said hi to you.
I said hi to her first.
Well, I wasn't paying attention.
Okay.
So what you said to Swifty was if you brought in a deal with no baggage, no contingencies, no red X's, he may be willing to pay $5,000. Now you bring in this, which look at how much more challenging, how much more complicated it becomes. Now you're probably going to say, I'm not willing to do that.
Right, absolutely.
I'm not willing to discount it at all.
Right.
I'm not willing to do this. I might not do that. I might not do whatever. So what I'm saying is be very, very, very convinced on what you're just really you're going to eliminate negotiations. What you're going to do.
So you're probably one of the most ethical guys I know. So you may be able to answer this question. What are we allowed to demand? Are we allowed to demand, like Todd Taylor saying, that, and not throwing Todd out there, but he made a great valid point, we're still going to market the property, we're still going to make it active. What are we allowed? I mean, and that's a question that probably neither one of us can answer, not putting down on the spot.
We kind of go by our rules, but we've got people like Lisa that help us understand the law a little bit better. But see, whenever you take these kind of contracts, you've got to put it in the system. You've got to notify everybody, this is under contract. This is under contract.
Yeah.
So it's under contract you really want. And you got to look at part of the contract is this. Here's what you normally see whenever people do this. A lot of people are doing this. They don't even have their house listed.
Because they feel because our market is so strong. If anybody doesn't know, Rutherford County is ranked in the nation. This is not a hoax. This is not blowing smoke. We are known in the nation as one of these places to move to. And so when people hear that, they automatically think, hey, my house is going to sell. I got the best house that's going to sell, no problem. And then that's why they're waiting to list their house, because our market has created this monster that we're in right now.
But they don't understand how complicated they're making it, because the person selling it knows there's plenty of people out there that will want my house.
Right.
So I don't have to wait on you. So whenever you take this offer, make sure that you're identifying the person buying it and what they're selling. How reasonable are they being on their house? So here's what I normally see people in these positions. They're normally wanting to get the best deal on your house, but then they're wanting to get the most money. That's human nature, but what it ends up doing is it really makes you not want to deal with those kind of people.
Exactly right.
Cousin Charlie, do you have a question yet?
You asked,
Cousin Charlie, it's about time. Put the camera over there on him, Kathleen. It's about time.
Weatherman brought up about the legal side of it.
Hey.
Can a person put in something in the contract of the seller has all of the power when you've got a sale contingency?
What do you mean by that, Cousin Charlie?
Well, the person's losing a lot of their ability to negotiate when they have that.
It's unspoken, but it's true.
If I'm a buyer and I really want this house, I may be willing to risk more than I normally would if I didn't have this big X on my...
What would you be? Oh, if I'm the seller, hey, that's enough of Cousin Charlie. Now, are you talking about if...
He said he's willing to do more to get this house to
house.
wait.
What do we know a negotiation is?
Negotiate. It's two people trying to come to a solution.
Two people searching for an agreement.
Right.
Hey, Adam Hall. Good to see you on there, buddy.
So, if we're two people searching for an agreement, how much confidence could I have in you if you have another house to sell?
Right.
So my agreement is not going to be the same with you as opposed to Swifty if he said, I ain't got to sell my house.
Well, if this is the only offer somebody has, say, the market's going to determine...
Good questions.
What a house is, the pricing of it.
Well, give me a time. Is it day 1? Is it day 5? Is it day 20?
Say you're 30, 40 days in.
This is where I told people this. If you're in that position, if you're 30 days in and you're looking at taking a home sale contingency, first off, are we too high? You got to ask yourself, are we too high on our price?
Right.
So I think you got to look at that. If you've been there, the market has rejected your house for 30 days now.
Right.
Should you take that offer? Or should you reduce it a little bit?
Right.
So let's look at another scenario.
That's a good question.
Good question. So another scenario. So if I have a client and I'm dealing with this now, so I'm dealing with a good agent on the other side, and I have a house that needs to be sold, my offer is going to be so strong that it's hard not to take it. Let me give you an example. If I want to buy your house, Cousin Charlie, and your house doesn't have a contract, and it's 1 week on the market or less, I'm giving you full price. I may not ask for an inspection. All I want is a 48-hour first right of refusal. So when I put those things in front of you, that's what makes it tough. And a great agent, if you're doing a contingency, makes that offer almost hard to refuse. Does that make sense?
Yep. Now, how would you feel if you had a house listed at $329? Okay, it's listed at $329. You've got a sale of home contingency offer of $329. Okay, but they're selling a house they're not moving as quickly as you'd like them to, and you've been on the market for 35 days. What would happen if you were to move your house from $329 to $319?
Would you be better off doing a little price reduction
I think you would.
as compared to taking the
I
contingency?
think you would, but I think it's very hard for a seller because all they see is maximum profit. They don't understand where it's going to shake loose. They just look at what they could make. People are motivated by what they're going to lose more so than what they're going to gain.
Right.
Okay? So if you have an offer at $329, how motivated are you to say, hey, I'm going to go down now to $319?
Not very likely.
They ain't, but what if they've been on the market 40 days? The other home that's part of the equation, part of the formula, it's not moving.
Right.
So, you could reduce it, then maybe get another offer, or that could force the other people to reduce their house. But I think that's what I would do. If I'm taking it, I might reduce my house.
I think it depends on the value of the houses you're looking at. If someone's got a house that's mid twos, hey, $10,000 could mean a lot. If you've got a house that's fours, $10,000 may not be as much. But from the sale of contingencies, if you're at a lower house with our market, I'd be more willing to take the gamble than if someone is downsizing as compared to upsizing. But could someone put in a contract legally? Hey, if you really want my house, you are going to basically have a higher earnest money, and you would forfeit that if you don't sell it.
The contract protects them from that.
But could you write it in there?
You could ask them, hey, we'll do this, but we want non-refundable earnest money.
Right.
Then I'm going to say, well, I don't have a real contract with you, so why would I do that?
Right.
Okay. Just a little bit more of a gamble if you're willing to take it.
I don't know. And again, buyers are usually they're more selfish because nothing happens until somebody buys. So they spend money on it. Mm-hmm. So most of the buyers, it depends on how marketable the house is. If it is an $894,000 house where there ain't a big market in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, a buyer can control those terms. If it's a $175,000 house, you ain't got much say so.
Right.
I think I even took a contingency. It depends on who. Every deal's different. So, like we had a coming soon, a friend of mine, 175. I took a sale of home. I took a close of home contingency because I knew Aaron Costco and I knew George Weeks. I know how they perform. Mm-hmm. So every situation, you got to look at every single deal, but you got to use your knowledge as kind of a benchmark on what you should do. But then you got to have the ability to become rational and look at each deal individually. What are you doing? Are you breaking down the sale? Hey, we got 2 more hours. Okay, now everybody, we're going into the fundraising segment of Real Estate 101.
This is why our ratings go up.
This is where our ratings go up. So now we're trying to raise money for Reconstruction for Life. I'm just kidding. Tonight, I think it's 7 o'clock at the Country Club. I am dancing. And for my birthday, if you go to my Facebook, I'm trying to raise a little bit more money. Cousin Charlie, how much more money do we need to raise?
400. You're in second place right now.
We need to raise $75,000. Can we do that, Cousin Charlie, between now and 7?
Oh, we're already there.
We can do that. We can do it. So, hey, for my birthday, I'm asking you to donate money to my fundraiser.
I donated.
Did you donate?
Yeah.
I haven't seen you going there on that
Yeah.
GoFundMe. You did?
I didn't go. Hey,
Well, wait a minute. I apologize. I didn't see it. I'm not getting notifications. Has anybody else done it?
Funny, but no.
Nobody else has, Charlie?
but I donated.
The weatherman donated, and I appreciate it, weatherman. So tonight, 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'm dancing. And I do have two fears in my life, and that is to dance in public and to fly on an airplane. Those are my two things I hate doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Kathleen has done a great job promoting me trying to get over my fear. So tonight, if you see me at 8 o'clock, I'll probably had 4 or 5 or 6 drinks by then. And I'm going to look like Patrick Swayze.
Are you gonna go live? Do you want me to go live?
Do you want to go live?
Should we go live?
Should we go live?
Hey, I did buy 2 extra tickets. I will be scalping outside the Stone River Coach Club. So if you're looking to get in, I'm your guy.
Tonight, we are going to go. I guess we will go live.
We should go live.
So, guys,
Let's
hey,
go live.
tonight, tune back in. We'll go live, show you a Murfreesboro version of Dancing with the Stars. Maybe we can keep up our fundraising efforts. So, we're going to be doing that tonight. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Every Wednesday, 1 o'clock, Real Estate 101 with me and the Weatherman. Thank you, guys.